Today we're going to be looking at some entitlement family edition.
I don't play with you like that. I don't you calling a you. I don't play with you.
I always hear the saying respect your elders, which I will say I do agree with. I think we should respect everybody. However, if somebody starts disrespecting you, why should you continue to respect them? Shouldn't you just match their energy? Exactly, respect is only given once it's received. Personally, I disagree with that comment. I just feel like it's a bit bratty. I believe you should respect everybody. However, in a minute someone starts giving you an attitude, match that attitude. Or you don't have to match your attitude, just stop being, nice and lovely to them. Just be stone cold. There's been many times where I've spoken to somebody and I've been nice and bubbly and they've just been stone cold. So what do? I basically just act like they're not there. If they're going to be difficult with you, why shouldn't you be difficult back?
Listen to how much of an entitled brat my brother is, right? This is a conversation I just had with him. I should preface, I'm definitely entitled as well. However, moving on. Backstory, me and my brother live at home with my parents. I'm 23, he's 24. Before you judge, that's pretty normal for Melbourne in Australia, especially in Greek culture.
Also, may I just add, have you seen how expensive rent is? I was looking at houses in my local area. To rent a house, it's like £900, £1,000. This is in Northern Ireland, by the way. Imagine what it's like in London.
So for the past few weeks, my grandfather's been in hospital, so my mum's been there looking after him quite a lot. So naturally, I've started looking after the house a little bit more, doing a few of the chores she would usually do as a Greek mother. And today I walked into the kitchen, right? My brother had a dirty Tupperware container in a plastic bag and left it on the island bench. Just left it there, didn't unpack it, didn't put it in the sink, didn't put it in the dishwasher, left it in the plastic bag, just said someone else's
problem. Why is it in a plastic bag?
Right? So I waited till he walked into the kitchen naturally, and I pointed to, I said, "What's that?" He goes, "What?" I said, "You couldn't have put it in the sink. You didn't even have to wash it, but you couldn't put it in the sink." He goes, "Mate, I was so tired from work, I this, I that." And I said, "That's fine. It's not that hard
to
unpack it and put it in the sink. I'm not even asking you to wash it." Listen to his response, right? He goes, "Mate, you don't even know what I do around here. I clean my own bathroom and I make my bed in the morning." Whoa, no you don't. Bro's crazy. He actually looked at me like he deserved a Nobel Peace Prize for doing that. I was like, this is his face. Like as if I thought it was going to be some great achievement that he makes his own bed in the morning. Well, okay, you know what? I didn't realize you do all that. Is there anything else you need me to do for you then? I didn't realize you take on that big of a load. I clean my own bathroom. I make my bed.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a split second. Let's say that his mum is a certain type of mum where it doesn't matter what you can do, she wants to do it herself. Some people have parents like that. Like I could go to clean the dishes and they'll get cleaned after me because I haven't done it correctly. Sometimes it's better just leave it for your mum to do. With your granddad being in hospital, your mum's probably gonna be very stressed and nervous about that. So I think it's good that you're pulling your weight and you're trying to get your brother to pull his weight. I just want to know why you put it into a plastic bag. Is that like an Australian thing? I don't clean dishes because I always somehow end up doing it wrong. I'll always end up getting recleaned after I've cleaned them, and then I'll get shouted at because I've wasted like a load of water, etc. But when I have a dirty dish, I just put it in the sink. Why is he putting it into a plastic bag? Is that a thing you do in Australia? A plastic bag? I'm trying to think as to why you put it in a plastic bag. I'm an a-hole for leaving a family gathering and taking the cake with me after getting my feelings hurt. I, 27, hit 1 year sober at the beginning this year. This was a huge accomplishment for me. It was bigger to me than finishing college. I told my parents that next time we were together for family dinner, I had something to celebrate. This all happened at my mum's. The kids were playing and adults were hanging out. I took the moment to share I'd reached 1 year sober and how good I felt about it. They went, "Oh, that's what you were talking about, and has it already been a year?" I'm embarrassed to admit, I hope someone would say they're proud of me. Why would you be embarrassed about it? Isn't that like the least they could do? Whenever it comes to issues, especially addiction, because let's be completely honest, being an alcoholic is an addiction. You're addicted to the alcohol. Becoming sober and breaking away from that addiction is very, very difficult. I'm very lucky where I've never had addictions, but addictions kill people. And even whenever it comes to drinking alcohol, some people don't like to admit that they're alcoholics or functioning alcoholics. But at the end of the day, that's still an alcoholic. It's really difficult to overcome, and I'm quite shocked as to why they wouldn't say they're very happy for you. That would make you feel crap, and imagine you started spiraling back into it again. My brother-in-law Steve looked at my sister, and they both said, well, at the same time, and she said, since we're all here, and he's just got into a specific gymnastics thing, it's been a long road, but she did it. So just to put salt in the wind, they're gonna completely ignore your accomplishment and then talk about your niece's accomplishment. Why can't you celebrate both of them? Steve popped some wine they'd brought and started giving everyone glasses/cups. He made eye contact with me and his face fell. I had this bad feeling, so I got up from the table and took a walk. Remember how I just mentioned he could literally fall back into alcoholism? It seems like he was starting to get them urges. I tried to get through the moment mentally so I could be present for my nieces to celebrate her success, but when I got back to the house, my sister asked me why I left without saying anything. I said I needed a minute to myself. She looked at me funny and said, okay. She really doesn't care, does she? He's just told you he's 1 year sober and you don't care. See, stuff like that grinds my gears. I said I'd shared something I was very proud of and she bulldozed over it. My mum put her hand up and asked me what my news was. I said that I told them I hit 1 year sober. Mum said my generation always wanted praise for doing the bare minimum. That wasn't an accomplishment, it was just what I needed to do, like graduate in high school. What is up with the older generation pushing their trauma onto the younger generation? It's something I've noticed. Every time my generation accomplishes something or complains about something, you have people like 30 years older saying about how lucky we are and blah 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 blah. Where does all that sourness and negativity come from? I tried to make it through to dinner but found myself just not in the mood anymore and I decided to go home. Here's a direct thing I'm being called a butthead for. I brought a small berry cake to share after dinner. It was the thing I decided I earned. The kids had definitely seen it. On my way out, I decided to take it home with me. Good, why should they deserve any of it? I guess when they realised the cake wasn't in the garage fridge anymore, my sister called me to ask me why I took it. I said I did it because it was my cake to celebrate my accomplishment. She said word for word, "Are you effing serious? Oh my god, Emma, grow up, you're such an effing baby." My mum later texted me directly to tell me how disappointed she was that I threw a tantrum because my niece got more attention than me. But this is the thing, it's got nothing to do with attention, it's got to do with the fact that they quite clearly don't care about your accomplishment. Even if your accomplishment is really small to them, it's still massive to you. Beating an addiction such as alcoholism is a very, very difficult thing to do. I don't think her read of what happened is right, but that's why I'm asking you guys. I'm an a-hole because I took home the cake in the end. Was that really childish of me considering the kids saw it and then didn't get any? As I was putting on my shoes to leave, Steve found me and directly apologised and said he was completely oblivious in that moment. I know he did not do anything intentionally to hurt me. I think Steve was the one who was going to hand her the bottle of wine, which, you know, thank god I think he realised in the end, oh god, she's talking about being sober now, let's not give her the wine. But it just seems like the whole family don't care. They brush it all under the rug. Are you an a-hole? Absolutely not, and don't let them gaslight you into thinking you're one. My generation always wanted praise for doing the bare minimum. That wasn't an accomplishment, it was just what I needed to do. Graduate in high school. She must have missed a generation's old tradition where graduating high school comes with a formal ceremony, its own song about a dozen parties, food, money, presents, family coming from out of town, the phrase congratulations in every decoration, and yes, a cake. It's often the most celebrated milestone of a person's life until they get married. When I originally read that, that's what I was thinking. Her mum's generation literally would have celebrated anything at any time. See, nowadays, people don't even barely celebrate, you know, Christmas, birthdays, celebrations. So why's she getting all yappy and whinging for? There are a million issues with your mum and sister's behaviour, but this just made me laugh in disbelief because it was such a terrible example for her to give. Original poster, you're not the a-hole at all. I'm sorry you didn't get the reaction you were hoping for from your family. I know it probably means very little come from the wrong person, but congratulations on your incredible accomplishment. Battling addiction of any kind is not easy, and I'm proud of you for taking those difficult steps to make yourself a better person. The mother will only realise how the daughter feels if she ever falls into addiction, which, you know, let's hope she doesn't. Even though she seems like an awful person, so does the sister, I hope they never have to fight the same battles that that girl did. Why have they got so little empathy towards you? I'm an a-hole for not giving my daughter a car for her 16th birthday and cutting her off financially. Before we jump into this Reddit post, keep in mind she's 16-year-old. I, 48 male, have a daughter Lisa who's 15 from my first marriage. I'm not in very good terms with her mother, and Lisa unfortunately became an outlet for her resentment towards me, which ended up souring our relationship massively. Lisa is a good person, but unfortunately she takes it from her mum in terms of demeanour and often acts rude and entitled. A few years ago I got married again. Lisa decided not to attend my wedding and said a bunch of hurtful things to my then fiance Rosemary. Since then our relationship got even worse. When Rosemary and I welcomed our son a year and a half ago, Lisa sent me a text saying that since I have a perfect baby now, I could stop pestering her and trying to play family with her. It hurt me deeply and I ended up distancing myself from her. So I kept sending her $100 a month as her allowance. I want to know why she has sent you that message. She's texted you saying that you can stop pretending to be a dad to her, basically saying that you're not a very good dad. Why does she feel that way? Whenever it comes to divorces, that can destroy a kid. You know, saying their mummy and daddy breaking up and not being in good terms, like that can absolutely destroy them for the rest of their life and really traumatize them. But I am curious as to why she's messaging you that. Is it because of the mother and maybe the mother's feeding her lies, or is it because you've done something to hurt her and the mother? Recently we had an unplanned addition to our family. Long story short, Rosemary's sister, who wasn't a good parent to start with, terminated her custody rights over her son Blake. Rosemary and I decided to take Blake in. Unfortunately, a few years ago, Blake got in a horrible car wreck that left him permanently disabled. Luckily, he can somewhat walk and doesn't need 24/7 assistance around the house, but that's about it. Blake is an amazing person and he quickly became part of our family. I decided to give the $100 allowance to Blake instead. Oh, that's probably not a good thing to do, and I'll get into it soon. He was beyond happy and grateful. I also made a hard decision and gave him my car. It's a 22 Cadillac Escalade, and I was planning on getting rid of it this year anyway since Lisa is turning 16 in a month and I wanted to gift it to Lisa. Now it's Blake's car and he absolutely loves it. He really needed a car because his mobility issues don't let him get around easily anymore, and it changed his life massively. Of course Lisa didn't like it. When she realised that she wasn't getting any allowance, she called me and asked what's wrong. It was the first call I received from her in a year, if not more. I explained it now when my family had expanded. I'm not having enough money. I'll still be sending her monthly child support payments as per court agreement. She shouldn't expect anything extra. She asked me about the car since she knew about my plans and giving her her a car. I told her that now the situation changed and I could no longer give her a car. I'll admit what I said next was probably a-hole-ish of me, since I told her that now I have 2 children to play family with and asked her to stop pestering me. That is probably why everyone in this Reddit thread thinks that you're an a-hole. You're going about it in the wrong way. You know, this situation could easily be resolved with therapy or sitting down and talking. You can't just abandon your child. This caused her to blow up completely to the point she got her mum to call me and scream at me, and so did her new husband. They threatened to sue me. Lisa said she'll go no contact and so on. I just brushed off the threats, especially since Rosemary is a lawyer and I made my peace with her contact with Lisa years ago. They also managed to write a few mean things to Rosemary and Blake, and this is what got me wondering whether I was the a-hole here. Yeah, so I will say you are the a-hole, and it just seems like a big messy situation. You obviously divorced her mother years and years and years ago, but it just seems like you're not very nice to her, talking about how she takes after her mum, how she's got a bad attitude, etc. When you and her mum broke up, she was 11. She's 16 now, and you still think this way about her. She most likely is aware of how you feel towards her, which makes the whole situation even worse. And unsurprisingly, Reddit went on to nuclear mode. You're the a-hole, you're the adult, and haven't acted like it for basically her entire life. She was what, 10, 11, 12 when you divorced. She takes after her mum, aka I did absolutely no parenting, and I'm shocked she acts like the parent you actually raised her. You distance yourself because the child said something mean. Oh my god, seriously, will you do the same thing when your son does the same? Because guess what, no teen has had an always positive relationship with their parent. More than likely your kid will say 1, they hate you, 2, you're ruining their life, and 3, they didn't choose to be born or something similar, so you're just gonna dip when he gets to that stage. Also keep in mind is the fact that he's no longer giving his daughter money or a car. He's giving it to a new family member. I think it's amazing that you really support Blake and love him and treat him as your son. I think it's just inappropriate that you're basically replacing one child with another and then basically informing him that you're gonna do that. So are you the a-hole? Absolutely. I have no idea what's going through your brain right now, but it's all wrong. You need to do a big 180.
Nothing gets me going more than people leaving comments on someone's TikTok post about what their boundaries were postpartum. A follower of mine made a carousel post saying, "This is why my in-laws don't like me." She relays what her boundary was for postpartum. You know what it was? You're asking? You're wondering? I'll tell you. It was, I don't want visitors at the hospital. And honestly, who the cares if we know the whole story, if we know both sides of the story? It's simple enough. She wanted no visitors at the hospital, and she relays what some of the pushback she got from her in-laws were and why they don't like her anymore. They
said,
not
we
even
don't do that in
family. I wanted all my relatives at the hospital after I gave birth, etc., etc. And the comments on the post really got me going. Like, the woman relaying her situation that happened with her mother-in-law, that's distressing, and I feel badly for her. But unfortunately, that's a run-of-the-mill experience that women have when they go in to have a baby, and it sucks. It's the comments on that post. She's not me. She's not loudmouth and yelling at you guys. It's just a carousel post with text on the screen, with like very pretty basic music. Comments on the post. The top comment, I would use that same energy when I was asked to babysit. What? So, sorry, I thought you were mad because you weren't allowed to come see your grandchild, and now you're gonna not see your grandchild when you're offered the opportunity to do so unsupervised? Seems a bit petty, but okay. And then another very common comment, but were your parents allowed to come? Okay, so we get on the same page about the fact that the person who has expelled the human being from their body gets to pick and choose who they want around them immediately following that experience.
Exactly.
Yes, both parties had a baby, but dad didn't grow and expel a baby from his body, or other mom, or you know what I'm saying. The person who gave birth did, and they get to pick who they have at the hospital. It is a very vulnerable time for a lot of people. Some people just want to see their mom, and that's okay. Some people just want to see their sister.
Some people don't want to see anyone.
Okay. They're learning to latch. They're having their stitches checked. There's people coming and going. They've got their hormones are doing like a, like, can we just chill? Can we get a single secular grip and just wait a couple of days until we're invited over to come see that baby and come with some food or whatever, like, get a grip, people. And when you comment on posts like that, you're just telling on yourself, okay? God.
I always find it really uncomfortable whenever a couple are having a child and the father starts to dictate how the mother should be. Basically inviting everybody in without the mother saying yes. You used to want to give birth to the child. Giving birth ain't just like doing a big poo. People die from giving birth. And that's not even including anything that happens after birth. That's a whole roller coaster. Some mothers want every single family member in the room. Some don't. That's fine. However, you have to listen to that person. Respect their boundaries. My family is my family. Mother-in-law is a stranger. Don't they understand that? Everyone is different. Some people want their mother-in-laws in there, some don't. Some people don't even want family members that are blood. It's up to that person and it's their decision. My mother-in-law showed up and also stayed at our house. Night one, she took my baby out of my room. I woke up to no baby. When somebody does something like that, what's going through their head? Like, what makes them think they can do that? People like that are dangerous. Like, they're literal terrorists. You know how people view terrorists and how they're dangerous and you don't want to go near them, etc. That's how I view people like that. People who don't know how to listen and don't know how to follow basic instructions absolutely freak the life out of me.
That the person who has expelled the human being from their body gets to pick and choose who they want around.
Oh my God, yes, can we have this conversation? The entitlement that some people feel to a child that is not their biological child, it is in fact their grandchild, is insane. I had pretty serious boundaries when it came to the birth of my children. I still have some pretty serious boundaries around the care and keeping of my children.
Point to add, people don't put boundaries in for no reason. Usually boundaries are set in place due to somebody crossed a line knowing they shouldn't have crossed that line.
But I'm going to take this conversation even a step further. Grandparents are not entitled to their grandchildren. At really any phase, you are not owed those children.
It's not their child.
But definitely not around the birth. Births can be traumatic. They can be hard to heal from. They can be psychologically damaging, and they are extremely vulnerable and intimate experiences. You have to feel so safe and supported in that vulnerable moment by every single person that is around you. That may or may not include your in-laws, your siblings, or your own parent. And anyone who has a problem with that is outing themselves on their own sense of entitlement. The grandparent relationship will always be an extension of the relationship you have with your own children, because no one owes you their baby.
It just always goes down to people not knowing how to listen, how to follow basic instructions. I just couldn't imagine being a woman literally giving birth, being all over the place in pain, not knowing how to feel, and people are telling you how you should go about your birth. I'm just saying, if I were in that position, I'd be getting thrown out the window. People referring to my baby as our baby. No, he's my baby, you are a distant relative. Do people actually say that? Like, it's not our baby, it's their baby, aka their baby and not your baby. My mother told me she has grandparent rights and could even sue me. I told her she doesn't have rights just for being related to my daughter. I'm sorry, but a comment like that should get a child blocked from seeing the grandparents. Who do you think you are to tell your child how to parent their child and how they should be with their child? And that goes for any situation. My mother called me when my son was in the NICU 2 hours away and said, "I'm here, so tell the nurse I can visit my grandson." I said no one can see him until I do. She threw a fit and hung up on me. It's almost like they don't think that people aren't going to go with what they want. Have you ever been in a situation like that where somebody does something thinking that that's what you would want them to do, and then when you turn around and say, "No, I want you to do the opposite," they throw a tantrum? It's happened quite a few times, and that right there is on an extreme level. This is going to be the last post of this video, however. It's petty revenge on an entitled family member. My dad's ultimate revenge on an entitled family. Backstory: my dad is a high school assistant principal. It is currently his first year at a new school, and it is a much better school than the last one he was at, which was overpopulated, drug filled, and many of the students there had to have free lunches or reduced lunches. There were fights almost every week, and my dad had to suspend kids almost every day. His new school is much better, with just 2 incidents all year. One with an autistic kid who had an episode, and one I'm about to tell you fine Redditors about. Here is the cast: my dad, entitled girl, entitled mother, entitled brother, entitled sister, the bus driver, judge, bus driver / school systems lawyers, the EM's lawyer, my dad's principal, and the school cop. What is going on in this post? You know, apparently everyone's involved. To clarify, any dialogue I might include will obviously not be 100% correct. The original incident took place about 2 months ago. I'm not 100% sure what started it, but either the bus driver accidentally bumped into entitled girl while he was dropping her off, or he told off entitled girl for saying something rude. She got pissed and texted entitled mum about it. Entitled mum came out of her home and started yelling at him, so we just drove off. Honestly, I can't blame him. It's probably the best thing you could do. I also want to know why parents always back up their children. See me, if I'm in the wrong, my parents will say I'm in the wrong, and trust me, I will get a battering for it. I just will never understand parents who know that their kids are in the wrong yet will still defend their kids. The next morning, the bus driver went to pick up entitled girl, but when he got to her driveway, she wasn't there. Entitled mom, entitled brother, and entitled sister were. He opened the door to ask where entitled girl was, and that's when all 3 of them boarded the bus. Entitled girl is a junior, I think. Her older brother was around 22 and her older sister was in college. These people were all adults, and all 3 of them started screaming at the poor bus driver, threatening him, calling him slurs, and telling him off. Obviously, we can now see the entitlement runs in the family and why the girl is that way. The rest of the kids in the bus were expectedly scared. The moment the 3 of them got off the bus driver sped away. The one thing the entitled family forgot to think about was the fact that there are 4 HD cameras equipped with audio sensors in every bus in our country. They caught everything. Purdue got the rest of the kids to school and went straight to the front office. Whenever a child witnesses something like that, it is quite terrifying. Even whenever I was in school, you know, witnessing older kids fight, it was quite scary. You know, imagine being 11, 12 and seeing 16-year-olds punching each other's heads. First of all, it's violent, but it's also something I didn't need nor want to see. My dad was pissed. He got the video feed from the bus, called the school cop who called some other cops, and had the entitled mother's ass arrested for malicious harassment, intimidation, trespassing, and a few other things. My dad's principal let my dad have control over the whole situation because he knows my dad does not F around with these kinds of things. So my dad helped the bus driver get some revenge. First, he had entitled entitled girl switched to a different bus route so she couldn't mess with the bus driver anymore. Then had the entitled brother, entitled sister, and entitled mother permanently banned from the school ground. And then he gave the bus driver a month off paid time off. Also, just to add something, this mother and her brother have literally ruined her whole school life in that school. They know exactly what they've done, but they don't care. Like, they've just put her in a whole sticky situation. Judging by the way she is as a human, I can't really say I feel bad for her. These were just petty revenge, if that. Working with their lawyer, my dad got statements from most of the kids who were on the bus, and then decided to press charges against only entitled mother and entitled brother. He'd apparently been in the middle of a 6-month probationary period from a different crime, so he was essentially guaranteed jail time. I'm so sorry, you are just dumb. This is what I said when we watch videos and read posts like this. What goes through people's heads? Why would you purposely get into an altercation like that when you're on probation? Going into the trial 6 weeks ago, nobody expected entitled mother to get any more jail time than a week, if that. My dad, his principal, and the school cop were all in the courthouse in case they needed to be called as witnesses. They were not. Their lawyers made his remarks, and entitled mum's lawyer just tried to reduce her sentence. He knew they were gonna lose. The videos weren't even shown to the judge because there was so much other evidence. But the judge surprised everyone when he gave entitled mum a 30-day sentence. So this little girl's not gonna see her brother or mum for quite a while due to the way they acted. I was gonna say, were they not thinking about the daughter, but it's pretty obvious that they weren't. They probably couldn't care less. He made it very clear to her that she had threatened the life of a man, endangered kids, and trespassed on school property for no reasons beside that the bus driver had told off entitled girl, and that she should be punished accordingly. My dad and his principal were trying not to cheer, but that wasn't even the best part. Entitled brother skipped his trial. They were back-to-back trials, so there was no way he could have forgotten. The judge immediately issued a bench warrant for his arrest. He was caught the next day in entitled mother's house, and when brought in front of the judge, he was given a year in prison for breaking his probation, skipping the trial, and for the same charges as his mother. Yet again, this brother just seems stupid. If that isn't pro-revenge, I don't know what is. As for entitled girl, she switched schools. My dad has told this story to almost everyone he knows, as he finds it almost instant karma hilarious. If he had a Reddit account, I'm sure he would have posted it everywhere. Thanks for reading. What I got from that whole post is that if you F around, you will find out. At the end of the day, if you're gonna act the way they acted, you know, you will get in trouble. And in their case with the law, how stupid is that brother? He broke his probation, then he skipped his trial, and then he just sat at mother's house as if nothing had happened. Remember how I said these videos will really open your eyes as to how stupid some people are? That whole Reddit post is exactly what I was on about. Well, anyways, guys, that's some entitlement that runs in families. Will it seem like a more entitled family? So maybe I definitely will. Chris Bigger Scrub, and see you all tomorrow for another video.